everyone, welcome back to our journey through Spain's greatest ancient and monumental architectures. Today, we arrive in the heart of Barcelona, where a forest of stone rises into the sky, twinkling, glowing, and alive, as if nature and faith had joined hands. This is La Sagrada Familia, one of the most extraordinary churches ever imagined, and one that, after more than 140 years of construction, is still not finished. Part 1. A story that begins with a bookseller. The story of a Sagrada Familia does not begin with an architect, a king, or even the church. It begins with a bookseller. In the later 1800s, a humble Catalan bookseller named Giuseppe Maria Boccabella returned from a trip to Italy, deeply inspired by the Basilica in Loreto. He dreamed of building a church in Barcelona that would honor the Holy Family, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and serve as a symbol of a spiritual renewal for the city. Fundraising began through small donations from ordinary people, not royal money, not government support. It was truly a church of the people. The project first went to architect Francisco de Paula del Villar, who proposed a standard Gothic revival design. Construction began in 1882, but difference soon arose between Villar and the project managers. He resigned. Little did they know that this decision will change architectural history forever. Because in 1883, the project was handed to a 31-year-old architect named Antoni Gaudi, a man who did not simply design buildings, he dreamed worlds. From the moment Gaudi took over, the Sagrada Familia transformed from a simple Gothic church into something unprecedented. He once said, "My client is not in a hurry," meaning God. Gaudi dedicated the last 43 years of his life to this single project, and in his final decade, he lived inside the church workshop. He died in 1926, struck by a trauma, leaving only a quarter of the church completed, but enough drawings, models, and visions to guide future generations. Part 2. Nature meets geometry. The architectural features. When you stand before the Sagrada Familia, one thing becomes clear immediately. This is not just a church. It's a stunning encyclopedia of nature, written by an architect who believed that God's handwriting was hidden in trees, plants, animals, and even geometry. There are 4 specialists about it. A. The facades, 3 stories of fans. The basilica has 3 monumental facades, each telling a different part of Christ's life. 1. Nativity facade, built first, full of life, plants, animals, joy. 2. Passion facade, high-ridge angles, scattered features, expressing suffering. 3. Glory facade, still unfinished, representing salvation and heaven. Each facade looks like it belongs to a different world, yet together they form a complete story. B. The towers, a forest of light. When finished, the church will have 18 towers, each symbolizing a feature of faith: the 12 apostles, the 4 evangelists, the Virgin Mary, and the tallest one for Jesus Christ. The Central Jesus Tower, still under construction, will reach 172.5 meters, making Sagrada Familia the tallest church in the world. Gaudi chose that height for a reason. It is 1 meter shorter than Barcelona's Montjuic Hill. Nothing made by humans, Gaudi said, should rise higher than what God has created. C. The interior. A living forest. Step inside, and you enter Gaudi's masterpiece. Columns rise like tree trunks, branches near the top to support a canopy of stony leaves. Light pours in the through stained glass windows in sweeping waves of green, gold, and deep red. Gaudi believed that a church should feel like walking through a forest touched by God. Visitors today feel exactly that. D. Engineering genius. Gaudi was far ahead of his time. He used catenary arches, the nature curve of a hanging chain, to create a perfect structure balance. He used models using strings and weights to simulate gravity and stress, the earlier form of modern computer modeling. He combined Gaudi verticality with organic architecture, making Sagrada Familia the first true biodynamic building in history. 3. A legend hidden in the stones. Every great monument carries a legend, and the Sagrada Familia has one that blends truth, mystery, and Gaudi's own destiny. The legend of the heavenly deadline. For decades, Barcelona locals whispered a curious belief: the Sagrada Familia will be completed only when humanity is ready for peace. This legend began soon after Gaudi's death. During the Spanish Civil War in 1936, anarchists set fire to the crisp workshop. They destroyed many of Gaudi's original drawings and models, a devastating loss. But here is the mysterious part. The fire stopped at the very end of the Nativity facade, the part Gaudi had completed with his own hands. Locals began saying, Gaudi's work cannot be destroyed. It is under divine protection. What makes this even more dramatic is that when artisans rebuilt Gaudi's shattered models decades later, they discovered something extraordinary. Inside one of the cracked plaster models, a tiny hidden cross had been sculpted at the center of the geometric structure, a point of perfect mathematical balance that allowed the design to be reconstructed. It was as if Gaudi had left a secret key for future generations, knowing the course that might come. Was it intention? Was it a coincidence? No one can say for sure. But this discovery made one thing clear. The architect who dedicated his life to a church he would never see completed until found a way to guide those who continued his work. A prophecy? A mathematical genius? Or both? You decide. 4. A church still growing. The present day. Today, more than 140 years after its foundation, Sagrada Familia remains a work in progress, still funded by visitors, just as bookseller intended. Construction continues with advanced technology, 3D modeling, robotics, precision stone cutting, paired with hand craftsmanship. Work slowed during the COVID-19 pandemic, but major towers continued rising. The completion date is now estimated as 2033 or beyond. Yet for many, the unfinished nature of the church is a part of its magic. As one Barcelona guide once said, if Sagrada Familia were finished, it would be a masterpiece. But because it grows with us, it is a miracle. Now, the adventure to the Sagrada Familia is coming to the end. Thank you for watching. If you like, please share and subscribe. See you next episode.